Week 6, instant reactions here on the Audible. Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom. And is Doug Peterson going to be the next coach to be fired? Because you go to London and you lose and you're going to get fired. But, well, Jacksonville's in London next. Are they staying in London? I don't know. I don't care because they can't do much of anything. Travis Etienne banged up. We'll get to that. Let's talk about this game, though. Bears, Jacksonville, super early, London. Bears 35. Jacksonville 16. Bears are 4-2. They're rolling. And then Jacksonville is 1-5. Trevor Lawrence. And again, rich man, poor man. Mac Jones was in this game. So that's either really good because you're winning big or it's really bad because it's over and just put him in and whatever. But Trevor Lawrence, 23-35, 234, 2 touchdowns, 1 INTs. Evan Ingram was back, 10 for 102. What? A tight end that actually does work? Gabe Davis with 2 of the touchdowns, 5 for 45. Christian Kirk, 3 for 39. Brian Thomas, still love him, only 3 for 27 in this one. And then the ground game was led by Dearness Johnson. And, of course, they're down, 14-3 at half. So, their running game's pretty much out by that time. But Jacksonville's struggles continue. Lots of good stuff to say about Chicago, but let's talk about Jacksonville. I guess the good thing is Evan Ingram was back.
Yeah, after last week, we thought maybe Jacksonville's not a bad team. They're a bad team. Trevor Lawrence was okay because of garbage time. Travis Etienne hurt with the hamstring. Don't think we're going to see him next week again in London going up against the Patriots. Tank Bigsby and Dearness Johnson split the work. So if you thought, oh, Travis Etienne's hurt, I have Tank Bigsby. Oh, no, not hooray. Don't know if you have a play there. And Evan Ingram comes back, and like you say, Cease, hooray, Evan Ingram, 10 catches. But now, do we trust Brian Thomas Jr.? Do we trust Christian Kirk? There's Gabe Davis getting the garbage time touchdowns. No one trusts him. So this is a passing game you have to depend on garbage time, I guess. Next week against New England, you might not. But this is not a fantasy offense right now, Cease, outside of Evan Ingram, that we're going to count on anybody in.
Yeah, we're not going to count on them. And then on the flip side with Chicago, the continuing love of Caleb Williams, man, 4 touchdowns, 1 INT. He's getting it. And some of the passes are just beautiful. One of the passes to Keenan Allen in the end zone, that's a pro throw. It's the tiniest of tiny windows, and he's threading it with confidence. Cole Kmet with 2 touchdowns, 5 for 70. Keenan Allen with 2 touchdowns, 5 for 41. Roma Dunze, 2 for 40. DJ Moore, 4 for 20. Oh, DeAndre Swift, 17 carries, 91 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. And Williams with 56 yards on the ground. You're feeling pretty good if you had Caleb Williams in your lineup today. I know the Bears are feeling good about their franchise quarterback.
Yeah, we see this team and this offense really turning the corner. Caleb Williams, it was garbage time against the Colts, the team that the Jags beat last week, actually, that really got him going. And you see that carrying over now when they're ahead. You see that carrying over. So this is going to be, an ADP indicated this. This is going to be kind of like the Detroit San Francisco offense, where not everybody is going to go off in any given week, but the ceiling for a Keenan Allen with the 2 touchdowns. You didn't get it with DJ Moore. You didn't get it with Roma Dunze, but that may keep you coming back. Certainly, Caleb Williams now is in that quarterback 1 tier going into the bye, and DeAndre Swift. He is a touchdown Smith at the goal line over Roschon Johnson. So we saw Roschon Johnson get 2 one-yard touchdowns last week. Swift got 1, only 1 this week. It goes to Swift. And there's no committee here. It is Swift's backfield going into the bye. And sees this team stands for, hey, first 3-4 weeks, give it time. Matt Waldman teaches us the season moves in these 4-week chunks. This second one, which includes the bye for the Bears, much better. And the Bears very quietly showing that they are going to be part of the playoff picture in the NFC if they keep playing like this.
No, it's Drake May's first game, so that's not great for New England, but something to build on, maybe. Let's talk about it. Houston Texans, 41. New England Patriots, 21. And let's get into this. We'll save Drake May's debut for just a little bit, but CJ Stroud is 3 touchdowns, 1 INT, 20 of 31 passing, 192 yards. Stephon Diggs, 6 for 77 and a touch. Tank Dell, 7 for 57 and a touch. Joe Mixon, back, 13 for 102 and a touchdown on the ground, and then 2 for 30 and a receiving touchdown. Thank you. Dalton Schultz, 4 for 27 in this one. Even Dameon Pierce getting on the action with the rushing touchdowns, 8 carries, 76 yards. So Houston, they made it look easy because it was easy.
Yeah, too easy. CJ Stroud did throw an interception in the end zone, or it could have been better for him, but still, you got enough. Tank Dell also drew pass interference in the end zone and pass interference close to the end zone, or it could have been a bigger day from him. You did see a good day from Stephon Diggs. But the big story here is Joe Mixon. And Joe Mixon looks like 5 years ago, Joe Mixon. You see the
Mm-hmm.
burst, you see the power. Texans were right. Just that simple. The Bengals were wrong and the Texans were right. The Texans were right to see him as a running back that's still in his prime. And that revitalizes this running game. Even Dameon Pierce with the long touchdown in garbage time showing us, hey, if Mixon goes down, maybe it could be better for Dameon Pierce. This offense couldn't have been much better. We will see how this team measures up in a more meaningful way when they go to Lambeau Field to play Green Bay next week.
Yeah, going to be a fun one, that's for sure. Measuring stick game. Well, in New England, it's just Drake May's first game, right? We're not going to get too high with the highs, not going to get too low with the lows. And he threw a couple of picks, sacked 4 times, but 20 of 33 passing, 243 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was playing hero ball. That's what he does.
Right.
It was what I'm watching for, Bloom,
Mm-hmm.
is just like, who is he leaning on, right? When Kayshon Boutte gets more work, I'm like, all right, he's leaning on him. Hunter Henry getting some work. That's a security blanket. He's leaning on him. 7-11, Demario Douglas gets 6 for 92 and a touch. He's leaning on him. 9 targets. Okay, that goes in the old mental register. Kayshawn getting 3 for 59 and a touch. Hunter Henry 3 for 41 and a touch. And then Drake May was the leading rusher with 38 yards. Of course, this one, it was 14-7 at half. You could have still ran the ball. They ran it 26 times, just didn't do much with it. Gibson with 13 carries, 19 yards. And then Antonio Gibson, 3 catches, 24 yards. So first game, we're just learning about Drake May. This is our first lesson, Bloom. What did we learn?
Well, he'll let it all hang out. Like you said, Cecil, play hero ball. He didn't look overwhelmed. He did show some signs of life. It wasn't all truly garbage time. He was keeping them within shouting distance. And certainly in super flex leagues, you like what you get there with the fantasy output, like you said, Cecil, even as a runner. Hunter Henry gets a touchdown. Demario Douglas, this is the guy to watch here. Kayshon Boutte, he's still in the league, still making plays. Antonio Gibson did get the lead back work. Maybe better things in London next week. Remember, by the way, the Jaguars, because of the hurricane, left late. So maybe they'll be well rested. We'll see what the Patriots' schedule is as they travel to England. But yeah, the Patriots still very much on track to get a good wide receiver, maybe even trade down and get a good wide receiver from a top 3 pick, the number 1 pick next year in the draft.
Yeah, could be. Could be. We shall see. The Commanders and the Ravens. This was perhaps the largest game of the day. People really excited about this one. The Ravens surging and the Commanders being wild. Well, it was the Ravens at home getting the win. 30-23 is the final score. Let's start with the Commanders side. Jaden Daniels, 24-35, 269, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Also leading the team in rushing. 6 for 22. No Brian Robinson in this one. So Austin Eckler was out there 9 for 21 on the ground. Eckler also with 4 for 47 as a receiver, helping his day. Terry McLaurin had both of the touchdowns, 6 for 53 and 2 touchdowns, but Noah Brown had 4 for 58. Zach Ertz had 4 for 68 as the rookie continues to lean on the veteran at tight end. So they didn't get the win, but dealing without Robinson, and they found it tough to, run the ball in a game where, well, that's all Baltimore wants to do.
Yeah, this was a game for Washington to see where they stand, where Jaden Daniels stand. He kept them in the game. And certainly it was a game that shows we're still going to try to pick on the Ravens pass defense, but you can't really run on the Ravens. So they shut down Austin Eckler, had a few moments early, wasn't able to get in a goal line carry. And really, Washington did the right thing, abandoning the run. Jaden Daniels getting those touchdowns, including a 4th down touchdown. This offense has been great on 4th down with a rookie quarterback. Terry McLaurin has arrived as a wide receiver 1 for fantasy. Saw Zach Ertz do a little bit, Noah Brown do a little bit. Again, maybe a high ceiling for this passing game that they didn't quite live up to in this matchup. But next week against Carolina should be a high ceiling matchup for everybody in this offense. And even though they didn't get the win, I think they showed they're not a pretender going into Jaden Daniels' middle of his rookie year.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels, we're getting there with him, and he's staying healthy, knock on wood. That's the main thing. Lamar Jackson, wow. I mean, he went to Mark Andrews. He went to others as well, but 20-26 passing, 323, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Derrick Henry, 24 for 132 and 2 rushing touchdowns. It's pretty nice when you can run it with King Henry. Lamar also had 40 yards on the ground. Zay Flowers, 9 for 132. And then Rashad Bateman, 4 for 71. Mark Andrews, 3 for 66 and 1 touchdown. Isaiah Likely, 2 for 27. So Andrews, fantasy GMs who probably had him on the bench this week, just based on how things have gone. Well, you missed out.
Yeah. They cruise to victory here. Derrick Henry is inevitable. And you saw how he is prime Derrick Henry, no signs of decline. Everything is lined up exactly the way we wanted it to be. We expect it to be. This offense is really just getting started now. And you saw Zay Flowers set a career high in the first half. It only took the first half. They didn't really have to pass much in the second half. Flowers also drew pass interference in the end zone, or it could have been a bigger day for him. You finally get that touchdown from Andrews. You see Rashad Bateman making plays downfield. So again, as this team gets into higher scoring games, hey, next week against Tampa Bay, that could be a high scoring game. A team that scored 51 points today, that could be a high scoring game. So Bateman, Andrews could be coming on. Zay Flowers showing you what he can do. Lamar Jackson showing you what he can do. The Ravens offense showing you what it can do. And Derrick Henry now in the running seats to be the number one fantasy running back this year. Congratulations if you took him.
Yeah, as Freddie says in the chat room, King Henry doing king things.
Yeah.
That's right. King Super Duper Superman. Look at the S on my shirt. Shaq Zam. Sorry, anytime I have a chance to quote Shaq Diesel, I will quote Shaq Diesel. Bloom's like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Let's talk football. Yeah, there you go. See, you remember the tripper, blah, blah, flipper. Browns and Eagles, are they still over 26 on third downs? You saw that stat floating out there, Bloom. Did they get a third down? Like there was some point during the game where the Browns were 0-26. They lose 2016. They're 1-5. They won't bench Deshaun Watson. The Eagles get the win. They're 3-2. Pierre Strong, 8 for 43 to lead the way. Dante Foreman, 10 for 31. And as a team, they ran for 100 yards. Amari Cooper, he's a target hog. While he's there, it's on the trade block, according to the rumors. 4 for 42. Jerry Jeudy, 1 for 35. That's all I have to say about that. David Njoku, 5 for 31 in this one. And do we even need to talk about Deshaun? Other than I can't believe he's still out there. He doesn't want to play football.
Yeah, you saw. I think the play that summed this game up was a Deshaun Watson tried to go deep, and I think it was Quinyon Mitchell, the rookie, and CD Deuce collided into each other going for the interception. So no interception. That's what can save Deshaun Watson right now. When there's two players that can intercept one of his balls, this is definitely a feeble offense. It's just a question of when this organization is going to admit their mistake. Financially, they can't admit the mistake this year without major, major pain, but they can certainly indicate that they made a mistake by who they choose to start a quarterback. Jerome Ford also getting hurt here. Nick Chubb can't get back soon enough. It looks like this game was close. That was because Myles Garrett leaped over a player to block a field goal that was returned for a touchdown. Also, David Njoku, 5 catches. Okay, I mean, there might be something there. We're waiting for Jameis Winston, Cleveland facing Cincinnati next week.
Yeah. As Mario says, need Jameson ASAP.
Yeah.
He's a national treasure. Yeah, that's for sure. Jalen Hurts, 16-25, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. A.J. Brown gets 6 for 116 and a touch. Devontae, Slim Reaper, 3 for 64 and a touch. And then Grant Calcaterra, 4 for 67 in this one. Saquon Barkley, 18 carries, 47 yards. And then Jalen Hurts, 14 carries, 33 yards. He doesn't need to be running it 14 times. I'll just say that. It's a win, right? Hey, they won. 14 carries for Jalen Hurts. Like, Anyway.
Yeah, we see what Jalen Hurts' fantasy value can be now with A.J. Brown back out there, with Devontae Smith back out there, Dallas Goedert not back out there, Grant Calcaterra. Remember, at one time he was the number 1 tight end prospect in his class before he retired from football because of concussions. He's back now. You did get a floor game here out of Saquon Barkley. It's Cleveland. So you remember that next week in Cincinnati, you're thinking about those running backs. Cleveland's run defense is the strength of their defense. We'll see if Nick Chubb can somehow rejuvenate the pass defense. You would think next week, the Giants are going to need some pass defense. If Malik Neighbors is back, that's going to be an NFC East showdown, a wide open division.
And did I see from a man, James Palmer, that Sirianni like shaved his head or something, right? So
He's going down. Hey, if he goes down, he's going to go down being true to himself. And I think that's something we can all say we endorse.
all right, there we have it. Moving along. It's Green Bay 34-13 over Arizona. Wasn't ever close. Arizona did try a little bit before half, but what was it? 24-10 at halftime. 34-13 to wrap this thing up. Cardinals are 2-4. Green Bay is 4-2. Kyler Murray 22-32, 214 yards, 1 touchdown, no INTs. Trey McBride 8 for 96. Amari DiMercado 5 for 39. Greg Dortch 3 for 36. James Conner 4 for 22 as a receiver, and then 7 for 24 as a rusher. It was actually Trey Benson leading the way with 5 for 26. All right, that says enough. Marvin Harrison Jr., 2 targets, no catches. Michael Wilson with the 1 touchdown, 2 for 21. Nobody started him. And Arizona left to figure things out. Flashes here and there. Certainly love JG, but man, this team's got to get some wins.
Yeah, see, you can circle all the way back to people who weren't that into Kyler Murray as a number 1 overall pick because they thought, can you really run an NFL pass offense with him? The offense is looking pretty feeble right now, with the exception of one game against the Rams when the Rams were mid-collapse. That was the one game that Marvin Harrison Jr. showed what everybody expected from him. This is an offense that isn't scaring anybody. And you saw Marvin Harrison Jr. go out with a concussion in this one. You saw James Conner not really get work in the second half. Let's watch this going into the game against the Chargers next week as he was getting his ankle taped up, testing it a little bit. So that's going to be something to watch. We know he's not necessarily a fast healer. He is somebody who tends to miss games. You did see one drive for Arizona that was mainly fueled by Green Bay penalties. Michael Wilson got a touchdown catch, but really Trey McBride is the only one we can trust in this pass offense. If Harrison is going to be out next week with the concussion, again, that Chargers defense is going to be just as tough as Green Bay's defense. Maybe not as good as Green Bay's pass offense today, though.
Yeah, Green Bay's pass offense. And when the chat room was talking about Romeo a little bit earlier. Terminal sarcasm. Saying that something ain't right with Dobbs. Good 2-day touchdown day. Never cracked a smile, not even when he celebrated, all with a mile-long stare. Hope he's okay. Yeah, certainly. Our fearless leader, the mayor of football guys, Joe Bryant, tweeted about it during the game of like, Romeo and anything that's going on, he's out there, he's business, he's taking care of business, right? And he's shown up as culture, I think he was talking about. But 34-13. And then Christian Watson, 3 for 68 and a touch. Romeo with 3 for 49 and 2 touchdowns. Jaden Reed with 6 for 28 and 1 touchdown. So there's enough. There's enough, everybody. Tucker Kraft, 2 for 13. Josh Jacobs, 18 for 62 on the ground. And then a cast of thousands that got carries behind him. 38 carries. 32 passing attempts for Jordan Love. 22 of them complete. 258. 4 touchdowns. 1 INT on the day. Or else he was heading for a perfect day. But Packers fans feeling pretty perfect tonight.
Yeah, everything's on track for this offense now. As we saw Christian Watson get a long touchdown. We saw Jaden Reed get a touchdown early. I think Love has 8 straight games with at least 2 passing touchdowns. And you just see that he's allowed to play a freewheeling style and really pass downfield, pick his targets. You saw Romeo Dobbs. The second touchdown was one where Jordan Love was about to get sacked, and he just really threw it up and said, do something, Romeo Dobbs. And Romeo Dobbs made a beautiful adjustment. So there's your trust. There's your sense that you're back in the story at the goal line. His chances to make plays. Dontavian Wicks did go down with a shoulder injury in this one. You also saw Tucker Kraft. A little bit disappointing. Ben Sims. So this team is going to have a 2 tight end offense, and Ben Sims slides right in there for Luke Musgrave. And maybe Tucker Kraft isn't going to be the breakout tight end that we hoped, especially with Christian Watson back, with Romeo Dobbs back. And you even see Emmanuel Wilson in relief of Josh Jacobs. This game wasn't even as close as the score, 34-13, showing he can be a viable backup if Jacobs goes down. It's still Jacobs' backfield, but Jordan Love likes finishing these drives with touchdowns. A fun game, again, coming up next week when CJ Stroud comes to Lambeau.
Oh, not fun for the Saints with Spencer Rattler out there. And 51-27, the Buccaneers get the win over New Orleans. Bucks are 4-2, Saints are 2-4, and Baker, the baby maker, 24-36, 325, 4 touchdowns, 3 antes. Chris Godwin, 11 for 125 and 2 touchdowns. Sean Tucker, 3 for 56 and a touchdown. Mike Evans, 2 for 34. And then Kate Otten got a touchdown there as well. Bucky Irving, a couple of catches, 24 yards, 14 carries, 81 yards. It's happening. But then Sean Tucker, 14 for 136 and a touchdown. Well, that's different. So it's working with Irving and with Tucker. So there you have it. Tampa Bay on their way to 50 points, doing it up with balance and a running back we're all scrambling for.
Yeah, this offense is really clicking. The Denver Broncos solved them. Detroit held them down too. But you see what's
that's before they debuted Bucky, though. Like they were just like a little bit of Bucky. Now it's a lot of Bucky and Tucker, not Rashad White.
It is, and it is a committee. I think that's the thing we saw here. Even before Sean Tucker was making plays, he's actually making plays right off the bat. They weren't going to make Bucky Irving a true lead back, but you see this offense can really fill up everyone's cup. Baker Mayfield starts 9 for 9. Then the Saints defense firmed up a little bit, got a few interceptions on deflected passes, maybe one bad decision. Baker gets a little banged up, but it doesn't matter because of the running game, because of Sean Tucker, Syracuse in the house, class 97. Explosiveness. You see Sean Tucker's explosiveness. Remember, he fell out of the draft not because he wasn't a good prospect, because there was some sort of medical issue that looks like it's cleared up now. Don't need to rush Rashad White back, although next week is a good game against Baltimore. Maybe not a good game for the running game. Every game's a good game for Chris Godwin in the Cooper Kupp role. Yes, Mike Evans got a little banged up in this one. Marshawn Lattimore. You didn't really need Marshawn Evans. You need to test Marshawn Lattimore with this offense running away with it in the second half. And again, Baker Mayfield has arrived as a fantasy quarterback 1. This is going to be a tremendous showdown again next week with Baltimore coming down to Tampa Bay. And see, at least for New Orleans, the good news is looks like they made a pretty good 4th round pick this year.
Yeah, looks like pretty all right. So let's talk about Spencer Rattler, 22 of 40, 243, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs, was sacked 5 times. Now, Foster Moreau gets 2 for 54. Jawan Johnson gets 3 for 48, so he's leaning on the tight ends. Bub Means gets 5 for 45 and a touchdown. Cedric Wilson gets 2 for 28. Hey, Rashid Shaheed. Where's all the people everyone started? Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, 1 catch, 11 yards, 1 catch, 5 yards. There they are. Rattler also had 27 yards rushing. Alvin Kamara, 13 for 40 and a touchdown. Now, full disclosure, I haven't watched much than just a few plays here and there. And also, full disclosure, I'm not a Spencer Rattler fan at all. I didn't agree with he should be a 1st round pick. Like, he should be a 2nd round pick. Like, nope. He went where he should go. I don't say anything necessarily special with what he does, but it appears from the limited viewing, and I'll watch the game when we're done here, especially getting ready for the Saints and the Broncos on Thursday night. It didn't seem like his head was swimming too much out there.
Yeah, he wasn't overwhelmed. And for a rookie getting in, definitely, I'm sorry, a 5th round pick. For a rookie getting in, that's surprising, honestly. And they have to turn around and play on Thursday night against the Broncos. I think we're going to see Rattler again. Everyone will get to see him. The game doesn't look too big for him. And he's somewhere in between that 1st round pick. Cease, like you said, he's not a 1st round pick, but he's got a future in the NFL, at least as a backup quarterback, maybe even as the heir to Derek Carr. A somewhat auspicious start. Even though it wasn't a win, he did keep his team in the game. One of the stats that came up in this one, Cease, fire Dennis Allen. No team runs the ball on 3rd down more than the Saints. Not something you want to be first at, running the ball on 3rd down. You saw Chris Olave leave with a concussion in this one. Rashid Shaheed at least had a punt return touchdown. He and the defense kept the team in it for a while. Bub Means getting his 1st NFL touchdown. Spencer Rattler's 1st NFL passing touchdown. Again, maybe Cease a comedy. Can we call this one Denver Saints? It'll be good for some laughs. I hope they have the laugh track fired up for that one on Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night. How's it going to go down? Well, we'll figure it out then. It is a Broncos show, but it is not yet time for the Broncos. We got Indy and Tennessee to talk about. It's the audible Cecil Lammey, Sigmund Bloom going over week 6, going beyond the box score. 20-17. Will Levis continues to provide us with things that have nothing to do with football that are maybe not hilarious this week. Didn't he run over the ball boy? Did I get that right? He took out the ball boy on the sidelines.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
No fantasy points for that.
Yeah, 20-17. It's like he's playing GTA. Joe Flacco in there, no Anthony Richardson. Everyone was waiting for that. Is Anthony Richardson going to play? Well, no. Joe Flacco in there, 189, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. Josh Downs, 7 for 66 and a touch. Mo Alley Cox, 4 for 41. Michael Pittman, 3 for 35 and a touchdown there as well. And then in the backfield, well, it's Trey Sermon and it's Tyler Goodson. Goodson with 8 for 51. And then Trey with 18 for 29. And then Tyler Goodson also catching a lot of passes, 4 for 14. So, whatever. A.D. Mitchell, dynasty. I sound like Michael Malone after his one championship with the Nuggets, except I'm not hammered, Bloom. There's your basketball talk. Let's talk about the Colts.
Yeah, we saw Joe Flacco in this one. Well, look like a quarterback past his glory days. A quarterback that isn't reviving pass offenses like he did last week, like he did for Cleveland last year, but still somebody who can make Josh Downs a good play every week. Josh Downs, again, you're seeing him in a Cooper Kupp type role, easy, short passes, keep moving the sticks, keep the offense on schedule. So even though he comes in questionable in this one, you're going to want to play Josh Downs, even if Anthony Richardson's back. And this is the key with Joe Flacco, a bad interception, missing on some throws. So you're not seeing him playing so well that, hey, if Anthony Richardson's healthy, is there a quarterback controversy? No controversy here. No controversy for your fantasy team either, as it wasn't a massive game for Flacco. You did see Michael Pittman going to go on IR with a back injury? No, actually going to play and get a post-up touchdown. So when Flacco's out there, it's probably better for him. Alec Pierce didn't do anything, did draw a long pass interference, was also open for a long touchdown, and Joe Flacco missed him. So again, not a perfect day for Flacco, a good enough to beat Will Levis kind of day. You did see Tyler Goodson actually outplayed Trey Sermon in this one. I think if Jonathan Taylor's not back for the game against Miami next week, you're probably looking at both of these guys as what the heck flexes at best. But if your quarterback's down, your top running back, the best player in your offense, is down, and you're still winning divisional games, that's a good thing. Remember, it looks like the AFC, maybe a playoff spot or two in the wild card group, the 6th seed, the 7th seed, it could be wide open. The Colts may say, why not us? If they can beat a Tyler Huntley-led Miami team next week, that will certainly help.
Tennessee trying to tank. I mean, Will Levis is just not good. And is Mason Rudolph watch on? Like, I don't know. Tony Pollard's good. 17 for 93 and a touchdown. So there you go. DeAndre Hopkins, 4 for 54. Tyler Boyd, 3 for 19. Wondering why did he leave? Chigi Okonkwo, I still love him. Nothing. Calvin Ridley, nothing. 8 targets? 8 targets. Am I looking at this right? 8 targets, no catches. Oh, boy. Help me, I'm poor, says Titans fans looking for quarterback help.
Yeah, and this was one from a fantasy standpoint, the important thing, I guess, is that coming out of the bye at first, it looked like we might have something like the 50-50 split we thought we would get before the season with Pollard and Spears. But in the second half, you saw a lot more Pollard, and Pollard's going to continue to be the one reliable play in this offense. Otherwise, we're on Mason Rudolph watch, and as they're going to be facing the Bills next week. But I remember when Tennessee came in last second suitor for Calvin Ridley, and they signed him. Ooh, what a coup. Ooh, stick it to your division rival Jags. Calvin Ridley is turning 30 in December. You just gave him $46.9 million guaranteed for the part of the back nine of his career. And I thought it was wasted money. A lot of people said, hey, how do you find out if Will Levis is any good if you don't do something like sign? Okay, good. You found out if Will Levis is any good. Now you just paid a 30-year-old receiver $46.9 million for the years that he starts to not be a number one receiver, not have a quarterback. And, well, good luck, Titans. Good luck, Brian Callahan, because it's probably going to get worse before it gets better.
Worst day at Empower Field at Mile High. Denver Broncos lose to the Los Angeles Chargers 23-16. Chargers coming off a bye. And no Gus Edwards, so Kamani Vidal in as a what the heck flexor, a secret weapon, and he got a touchdown. 23-16 again. Chargers 3-2. Broncos 3-3 here, and Justin Herbert 21-34, 237, 1 touchdown, no INTs. It's 20-0 at half. They pretty much shut down after halftime. J.K. Dobbins 25 for 96 and a rushing touchdown. Kamani Vidal 4 for 11 on the ground, but then 2 for 40, beautiful wheel route, 38-yard touchdown. Ladd McConkey 4 for 43. Simi Fehoko, 2 for 44. No Pat Surtain for most of this game. I think he was hurt on the first play. Concussed, maybe. I'm not sure if he will have enough time to be cleared from the protocol for the Saints game on Thursday night. Sean Payton probably concentrating on the Saints with the way this team looked. We'll get to the Broncos mess in a little bit. But let's talk about how the Chargers scrapped it and pieced it together, mostly with just running it down their throat.
Yeah, you saw that Justin Herbert, but all showing us that in deeper leagues, we're going to add him. And still J.K. Dobbins, backfield. J.K. Dobbins being treated like a true feature back, running like a true feature back with the physicality this offense calls for. You saw Justin Herbert actually pretty good as a passer, even though, again, he's not 100%, even coming out of the bye. Ladd McConkey's probably not 100%, but you see the promise there as he could become a favorite target. But this team didn't have to pass very much. They came out pretty hot as a passing team, but then opened up a big lead and kind of coasted home. Could this Chargers team be a playoff team? Also, Jim Harbaugh having a little atrial fibrillation. I'm sorry, I'm not a heart doctor, but hopefully that's the last time. He didn't seem to think it was a big deal, Cease, so hopefully it's not. But for Denver, yeah, it's kind of a big deal whenever you get blown out by another team that's supposed to be rebuilding.
Yes, and you get out coached by Jim Harbaugh when you're Sean Payton, who discovered electricity. He's the smartest guy in the room, and he doesn't trust Bo Nix. He should trust Bo Nix. Bo Nix looks better, and the Chargers softened up. They played a soft zone. It wasn't true prevent. Call me a football nerd, Bloom. You'd be right. But when people are like, they were playing prevent, I'm like, not actually. They weren't actually playing prevent. They were playing soft zone, though. They were just like, whatever. And so Nix got it going. There was at one point at halftime where Nix had like a 0.0 rating. Yeah, okay. He finishes 19 of 33, 216, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT that was a tip. Sacked a couple of times. Also, the leading rusher, 6 for 61 in this one, running for his life behind an offensive line down 3 starters. I'm going to include Mike McGlinchey in there, but no Palcho. So Matt Peart was in on the right tackle position and Alex Forsythe in at center position. And the blocking wasn't great, Bob. Devon Vele, 4 for 78. He's good. More Devon Vele. Why couldn't he get a jersey for weeks? Like, I know the ribs injury after week 1, but then he was like healthy for 2 weeks. Anyway, Cortland Sutton, 4 for 53 and a touchdown. There's also a 49-yarder called back by penalty, so he could have been over 100 yards. Troy Franklin, 2 for 31 and a touchdown. Jaleel McLaughlin doesn't do anything. Javonte didn't do anything. So after 2 weeks of like, is Javonte back? He's back. And then he wasn't back. And then he fumbled, which led to a little more Audric Estime, just a couple of carries, but 6.5 a carry, so you like that. Lucas Kroll got a couple of catches. He could do more, but the training wheels are on, and it doesn't seem like Sean Payton has any intent, unless he's saving it for New Orleans, right? I'll show you tricky right. New Orleans is... New Orleans? No, what do you call New Orleans residents, Bloom, as you're one of them?
New Orleans? New Orleanians.
New Orleanians. I'll show you New Orleanians that I love you and that I miss you. And here's my offense. So maybe he just is a control freak that won't take his hand off the steering wheel.
Yeah, I think you can see it was embarrassing, honestly, at first. And you saw Bo Nix has fight in the second half, and that resulted in some fantasy value. But meanwhile, as you said, the fantasy value of Javonte Williams eroding away. You did at least see Troy Franklin hold on to a touchdown in garbage time. A beautiful touchdown for Cortland Sutton. Like you said, it could have been a bigger day for him. Vele in your deep dynasty leagues. But again, Thursday against the Saints, maybe it's a good night to catch up on laundry. Certainly not a good night to watch good offensive football.
Certainly. All right. Certainly a Steelers win in a big way. And Justin Fields, don't even bring up Russell Wilson. 32-13. Steelers win. They're 4-2. They're rolling over the Raiders. And Aiden O'Connell, the key to keeping Devontae Adams? I mean, probably not, but just sounded like some agent speak there, Bloom, of like, well, he could just stay. Please trade us something. Please trade us something. Yeah. He could totally say he loves Aiden O'Connell. Who's that guy? Whatever. So the Steelers out there kicking ass, double live Gonzo. I love this. I love Justin Fields, man. I love the way he's playing. Couple of rushing touchdowns. 145 through the air. Najee Harris out there. These guys are healthy. Jalen Warren out there not getting it done, but whatever. 106 for Harris and a touchdown. George Pickens, 3 for 53. Calvin Austin, 2 for 36. Nobody's doing much because Fields is running all day. And yeah, man, they just win. They win going away. And well, there you go, Steelers. That's how you do it. TJ Watt getting a strip. Nobody's had more strips than TJ Watt over the last 4 years.
Yeah, see, Steelers, I don't know if they're for real, but this game is about how bad this Raiders team is. Justin Fields getting those rushing touchdowns. He's still the best option when the Steelers are in the red zone. But you did see Najee Harris hurtling, diving for a touchdown from 36 yards, finally coming through. If you can't come through in a matchup like the Raiders, when are you going to come through for fantasy football? Nobody in the passing game coming through because the Steelers pretty much controlled this game. They got some help from Las Vegas penalties, including a roughing the passer that negated a Justin Fields interception in the red zone. And if that hadn't happened, and if the Raiders would have made this a game, we probably would be talking about Russell Wilson. And as the Steelers play better defenses, like, I don't know, the Jets next week, we may be talking about Russell Wilson again pretty soon.
Yeah, maybe. Freddie asked Roman Wilson. I thought Roman Wilson was going to play. Wasn't that the report of like, I think I wrote about it on Saturday on our newswire. They're like, Roman Wilson's going to play. It's like, well, okay.
Right.
Can he do something, please?
Yeah. I think that Arthur Smith says slot receiver. Why would I put a slot receiver on the field when he would be taking the place of a tight end?
Aiden O'Connell goes 27 to 40, 227, 1 up and 1 down. Brock Bowers, 9 for 71. It was Christian Wilkerson with the receiving touchdown. And then Alexander Madison, 14 for 33 and a rushing touchdown. And then 5 for 32 as a receiver. DJ Turner, 2 for 37. Trey Tucker didn't do anything. So it was pretty much the Bowers show. And that was it. And Aiden O'Connell, good luck. Your first starts against the Steelers. Only sacked 1 time, though. You know what I mean? Like, is that a win? Only sacked, only hit 3 times. So is that a win? I mean, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I think the Raiders are trying to make sure that they're not going to be picking late enough in the draft for 6 quarterbacks to go ahead of them. They got Brock Bowers. Next year, they will be on track to get the guy that's going to throw to Brock Bowers. Aiden O'Connell, pretty much the same result, just not as entertaining. How about some more Gardner Minshew just to make the games more entertaining? Because at this point, it's clear why there wasn't really a quarterback competition winner. There's no winners if you are a Las Vegas fan. We did see a fumble at the goal line, by the way, by Amir Abdullah. You did see Alexander Madison at least have a decent fantasy game if you played him. And this team is a tourist attraction right now, basically. This team is a reason to take a trip to Las Vegas, get to see your favorite NFL team when they play there, because there is not an NFL team that plays at home games in Las Vegas right now.
Well, if they're a tourist attraction, what the hell are the Cowboys?
A birthday present for Jerry Jones.
A tax write-off? I have no idea. 47-9, Detroit Lions over the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are 3-3. Lions are 4-1. Jared Goff. We have a perfect example of rich man, poor man, because both backups played for different reasons. So Hendon Hooker, that's rich man. Cooper Rush, that's poor man. But Jared Goff, before he had to take a break, 3 touchdowns, 315 yards, looking good, feeling good. Jameson Williams, 3 for 76 and a touch. Khalif Raymond, 4 for 73. Timmy Pats, 3 for 68. Sam Laporta, Authority, I think I heard somebody say. 1 for 52 and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4 for 37 and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 for 28 as a receiver. Also 12 for 63 on the ground. And then David Montgomery. Boy, that contract came out of nowhere, huh? Like, here's more money. Running back. 12 for 80 and 2 rushing touchdowns. And, yeah, man. They're coasting. They're cruising, are the Lions.
Yeah, what cost, though? You're not going to see a team more glum after a 47-9 win. Let's get to the fantasy stuff first. Dallas's defense, yeah, they're actually bad. Don't look at that Steelers performance. Look at good offenses like the Lions. Dave Montgomery gets an extension, $18 million, 2 years, about $10 million guaranteed, 2 touchdowns, 8 straight games with a touchdown. That's a Lions record. Lions have had some pretty good running backs in their history. Tim Patrick, love seeing him play a role with this team, almost getting a touchdown, having a deep pass, just helping this offense be even better. But again, this is one of those spread it around offenses. You saw Jameson Williams drop a possible touchdown. On the very next play, Jared Goff goes back to him for a completion. Then later on, he does get a long score. So that makes you feel good about keeping Jameson Williams in as your wide receiver 3 flex, even when they're not playing defenses like Dallas. Next week, it's Minnesota. There's a Mike Zimmer connection there, so a tougher defense. Sam Laporta got his touchdown on a trick play. Amon-Ra St. Brown got a touchdown in garbage time. So, yeah, 47 points. Everybody's cup got filled a little bit. David Montgomery's maybe the best, or Jared Goff, but Aiden Hutchinson goes down with a compound fracture, tibia injury. Probably not going to see him this year, this postseason. So while you're setting things straight against the Cowboys, you're embarrassing Jerry in his house on his birthday. This team is a much more credible Super Bowl contender with Aiden Hutchinson, but teams have overcome a loss like Aiden Hutchinson before. So I'm not saying it's over. I'm just saying that, yeah, you might trade this win for Hutchinson if you could do it over again.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. And it's one of those squeamish plays. Like, be careful watching the highlight. You're like, oh, somebody's leg should not wag like that. Cowboys. Hey. Let me see here. CeeDee Lamb, 7 for 89. Trying to find Silver Lining. Silver Linings playbook. I'm going to go dance. Right. Tell me about the Cowboys here.
Yeah, well, it's just that no matter, even the garbage time script, like we saw against the Ravens earlier this year, for instance, that's not a guaranteed recipe for points for this team. They're not a credible team right now. They could potentially be a last place team in their division. This could be a team that, if you want Mike McCarthy to get fired, maybe this is the kind of game you're looking for. Is that a good thing? I mean, if they replace him with Deion and Shadur Sanders or something like that, is that a good thing? I have no idea. I just think at this point we can see that this blueprint is out of gas, whether it's the coaching, the players. They're humiliated in their building. They're not in the class of a team like the Lions. And there's a lot more questions than answers. And this is another one of those teams. See, we don't think of them like the Browns or the Jets, where the ownership is really keeping the team from even getting out of the driveway, because this Cowboys team has a lot of talent. But it does feel like as long as it's Jerry's team, we've probably seen the best they're going to be.
He needs to stop being the GM.
Yeah.
Like, just
and Steven, hey, a lot of the bad decisions have been Steven too. It's not just Jerry. It's just having this closed, insular structure where ownership and the front office blend together so much that there's no checks and there's no football people making football decisions.
Yeah, got to watch out for that. So there you have it. Atlanta and Carolina.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait, are we done? Not yet. One more. 38-20. It's Atlanta over Carolina. The Falcons are 4-2. The Panthers are 1-5. And Kirk Cousins, half Eddie of what he did last week, less than half. 2 for 20, 225. 1 touchdown, no INTs. Drake London, 6 for 74 and a touch. Kyle Pitts, 3 for 70. Darnell Mooney, 3 for 38. And then Bijan Robinson with 2 touchdowns, 15 for 95 and 2. And then 3 for 10 as a receiver. But Tyler Algier, 18 for 105 and 1 touchdown there as well. Easy one against Carolina. And although this one is a little closer for certain points of the game than I'm sure the Falcons wanted.
Yeah, it was 25-17 at one point. Spirited effort by the Panthers at home. But you did see Bijan Robinson get those 2 touchdowns open. So even though it is a committee, and it was Tyler Algier getting, as he should, those carries to close out the game, Bijan Robinson, you're now seeing the potential for ceiling games, especially when you have a matchup like Carolina. And Seattle next week, also a pretty good matchup, as we're seeing that defense exposed when they're not playing, Bo Nix and company. Kirk Cousins was quieter. You did see Drake London get enough. Kyle Pitts, enough. Maybe not so much Darnell Mooney, but you know that when there's an offense that can push Atlanta, maybe Seattle can next week, maybe not. The bigger days, we know the ceiling games can still be there. And then, again, a ceiling game for Tyler Algier. And, again, if you haven't watched him, this is a player who could start for a lot of teams. Boy, would the Cowboys love to have a player like Tyler Algier right now.
Oh, geez.
Instead, he's behind Bijan Robinson only slightly. This is going to be a great fantasy offense, even though it wasn't a great day for the passing game. If they keep putting up numbers like 38, they will be there. And Andy Dalton put up at least some numbers today.
Yeah, let's talk about the Panthers before we maybe check in on the Sunday night game and then call it a night. Andy Dalton, 221, 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs. It was Deontay Johnson, 6 for 78 and a touch. Xavier Legette, 3 for 23 and a touch. Jatavian Sanders, 5 for 49. Jalen Coker, 3 for 30 in this one. Chuba Hubbard, 18 for 92, no touchdown. Don't get greedy. He had 5 catches though, so that helps in PPR formats. So yeah, Carolina's still figuring stuff out. With Dave Tepper running the show, I have a feeling they won't figure it out.
Right. Ownership matters. Andy Dalton, though, good enough. If you had to play him as a second quarterback or super flex or an emergency quarterback, Deontay Johnson back in our good graces. Carolina's playing Washington next week, so you're going to like Deontay Johnson. At least you saw Xavier Legette get a 2-minute drill touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, the one consistent bright spot in this offense. I think even if you see Jonathan Brooks activated next week to practice, you're going to see another start for Chuba Hubbard next week against Washington. Maybe you won't see Brooks activated. Maybe they'll decide, hey, he's a second-round pick. He's a cornerstone of our franchise going forward. Let's just let him heal all the way up before he plays. And that's just where you're at, the Panthers. We can see coming out of week 6, we're pretty sure who the bad teams are. We're pretty sure who the good teams are. There's a few teams in the middle we haven't figured out, and hopefully we can use it to keep our fantasy teams going.
Yep. K1 says Tepper's the hold my beer owner.
Yeah. Yes. Or throw his beer at your head, owner.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful out there. Let's check it in Sunday Night Football. What's going on out there? What are we doing here?
It's boring. Joe Burrow.
Bengals and Giants, of course, is boring.
47-yard touchdown for Joe Burrow, and not much else happening as we're getting closer to halftime. Kind of a surprise because both of these teams you would think could get something going in the passing game, but not so much yet. I think both of these teams fall into the category of they might be okay, mediocre plus. Certainly, the Bengals should be able to beat the Giants if they have hopes of getting back in the AFC playoff picture. But overall, I think that the NFL is we're hitting cruising altitude. We're almost halfway through the fantasy football regular season, and we're going to guide you all the way home.
That means you can put your table tray down.
Want some pretzels?
Right? Where's them pretzels at? Where's them pretzels? Can't have peanuts on a flight, but there can be 4 dogs in my row. I've always wondered that. Like, if you're allergic to dogs,
service animals, Cecil.
Not all of them. The real service animals I respect, obviously, but some people just want to travel with their dog. But I'm always like, if you're allergic to dogs, are you just screwed? I wanted to say the F word. Sorry, Joe, but like, because if anyone has a peanut allergy, I don't think there's any peanuts anymore anyway. But I was like, what if you're allergic to dogs? It's
too bad.
Because everybody loves dogs. Too bad.
Yeah, get your own emotional support animal.
Okay.
Snakes on a plane.
Exactly. These blankety blank snakes on this blankety blank plane. I thought of how my brain works, Bloom. I was like, okay. And there was also Train to Busan, if anyone's ever seen it. It's like basically zombies on a train. It's a Korean movie, I believe. And it's fantastic. But I was like, okay, you had snakes on a plane. What else would be like go through the, tarantulas on a plane or zombies on a plane or vampires on a plane, right? Like we could run through all the we just have hit after hit after hit. We'd make more money than Joker 2.
Ooh.
Sick burn, bro. You're my emotional support, Bloom. You're not an animal.
No. No.
Although I've heard some people call you you're like a tiger.
Yeah. 60% of the time. Works every time.
That was Sex Panther. But anyway, now Joe's like, could you guys stop going off the rails at the end of the show, buddy?
Yeah.
Anyway.
You could have just hit end stream at any time, Cease.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Or wait, well, we're recording tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
It'll be released during the day tomorrow. I apologize. And thank you to everyone behind the scenes, Alfredo and Julia, and like just everybody behind the scenes that help us out on our YouTube channel. We have 3 YouTube channels now with Football Guys, so make sure to subscribe to all of them. Watch the video to the end. It really helps the algorithm. It also helps the algorithm if you like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. YouTube likes videos that get more interaction. So interact with us. Even if you're in the chat room, make sure to comment below. That's what YouTube counts on. And we count on you. You want to support the show? We don't do any silly super chats. We just say, check out footballguys.com, sign up for our free daily newsletter, and subscribe to footballguys.com if you would like. It helps us out, and we appreciate you for that. He's Sigmund Bloom. I'm Cecil Lammey saying, thanks for watching. Kisses. Watch the videos every day. Stay tuned and stay frosty, baby.